Barbie, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Please tell us your full name and a little bit about your family of origin.
My name is Barbie Lawver. I was actually born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My family moved here in 1971. We're tired of the winters there, and we've pretty much been here ever since. Married 27 years and have two boys, 11-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I do. I'm a family of five children, so I'm in the middle.
Okay. And what are they doing?
I have a sister that lives back in South Carolina, and I have the rest of my brothers and my sister live here in Las Vegas.
What, if any, religion were you raised in?
I was raised in the Catholic religion,
And are you still Catholic?
practicing Christian,
So you go to a Protestant or non-denominational?
non-denominational. Yeah.
It's Protestant. Um, do you have post-secondary education?
I don't.
You don't. Okay.
Some college, but not never graduated.
What were you studying when
Early childhood development,
early child?
psychology, kind of always been in the background what I've been doing. But having children, especially a child with autism, that kind of circumvented going to school.
Please describe what your thoughts and your feelings were when your son was diagnosed with autism. He has Asperger's syndrome?
Autism spectrum disorder.
Okay.
Yes, he was 4.5 years old. I just had my youngest son was 1 month old. He was just born, and so John Matthew was 4.5 years old and was having seizures. Took him to a neurologist specifically for the seizures and walked out with an autism diagnosis. Asked him questions that I had no idea why he was asking him. Put your arms like this. John Matthew would go like this. Hop on one foot, couldn't balance. Just things that I guess him being my first child, I didn't see any issues with some of those things. So I went home and found a book on autism, and I'll never forget it. It's like my Bible in autism. It's Tony Atwood, Dr. Tony Atwood. It was called Asperger's Syndrome, and read it and had a little highlighter, just kind of highlighting some of the things I recognized in John Matthew. And by the time I got done reading the book, the whole book was yellow. And it's like, that is why he laughs inappropriately. That's why he parallel plays with other kids instead of playing beside them.
What does parallel play mean?
Parallel play means that instead of interacting with another child, they're doing the same thing that child is doing, but not interacting with them. So they could be playing cards together, but there's no interaction with that other child. He's just doing it on his own. And that was pretty much John Matthew. Realized too, sensory issues have a lot to do with autism. One of those "that is why" moments is that is why I always kept him out of the bathroom when I put the water on in the bathtub, because I knew at one time he must have screamed when the water was too loud, the sound of the water. So all those things were like all these little light bulb moments going off in my head when I was reading this book. And the first 6 months were really hard because I thought with John Matthew, and I think with most parents, if your child was born normal or typically developing, that's the way they were going to stay. And as far as I was concerned, he was born normal, and then having an autism diagnosis, which I know is lifelong, just didn't even know really who to turn to. I had no friends that had children with autism. I remember calling the March of Dimes and just saying, what do I do with my son? I had no idea what to do with him. And the doctor, unfortunately, didn't really give me any help in that area. So I think I ended up calling a local psychologist here in town, or a psychiatrist, and she was actually who was able to help me figure out that he needed social skills training. He needed conversation, which is part of social skills, occupational therapy to desensitize him to a lot of the noises and sounds and feelings out there that were just too much for his sensory. He was getting sensory overloaded a lot. Also, what else did we do? There's so many different therapies I was finally able to get him into, and then I wanted to talk to other parents of children that had children with autism, and there was a mom that I met in one of the social skills groups that, as we were just talking and getting to know each other, we're like, somebody needs to start a support group. So that was a little over 9 years ago, and we said, well, let's do it and see if we can meet other parents. And that's what we did, and that's little over 9 years ago. 450 families ago that we've got to meet along the way, and
I have a question about that specifically.
sure.
How many autistic children are there in Clark County, would you guess?
I believe there's 6,000
6,000
diagnosed, yes.
diagnosed. Okay. And so that means there's probably others as well.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
are there other support groups? What my main question is why is it that you only have 450 families participating when there's so many?
There is, well, that's on my email list. There's families I've talked to other than that. There's also other support groups in Las
Okay.
Vegas that are really good, that have cropped up, were there before me actually, have cropped up since us two have developed. But there's a lot of families that I guess don't feel that they need support groups. But they still, it's nice to talk to them. So it's just really, those are the actual enrollment numbers. That doesn't mean that we haven't met more than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, our support group provides support and information to families. For a while there, we held even picnics for the kids and everything. There's another bigger support group in town, actually, that does a lot of picnics and a lot of family type of activities so the whole family can be involved. We're really specifically for parents and educators that want to come to our support group. We have speakers occasionally from the community, psychologists, nonprofit organizations that have workshops that would benefit our parents with autism, positive behavior supports, methods, transitioning from high school into the employment area. So occasionally we have speakers also, so it's more than just one-on-one support group with the parents.
Was there anything other than what you've said so far that you did about your son's diagnosis early on that you'd like to
Cried a
mention?
lot. Felt very helpless, extremely helpless. Thank goodness for the internet. At least I was able to find some information about autism. But I think that's one of the reasons why I started the support group. I thought if there was just one family, one parent that I could spare 6 months of helplessness, 3 months of helplessness, 1 day of helplessness, that's why we're there. And I'm walking the walk just like those parents are. So it really benefits me to have other parents still to talk to too. And I'm a very active participant in my support group. So it just, it will most likely be a part of my life.
Can you envision a day when you won't be doing that?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
I just love it.
Okay. Is there anything else about the Asperger's Syndrome High Functioning Autism Support Group that you'd like to tell us?
You know what? I have a really personal relationship with a lot of those parents. They've turned out to be my friends. And I guess the phone number they call is my home phone number, so I'll be
Why don't you
cooking-
tell us that phone number right now?
Oh, sure. It's 436-7996.
And that's an area code 702.
702-436-7996. And it's my home phone number. It's my second line at my home. And I'll be cooking dinner sometimes talking to a parent because I have been there and I'm still in there. And sometimes you just need to talk to somebody and just feel that you're not alone in this world of autism. And that's why I always will be there for the parents because I'm one of them.
What is the mission of the Achievement Academy?
The Achievement Academy, I'll tell you why it was created.
Please.
I have a now 16-year-old son named John Matthew that has autism. I pulled him out of the school district when he was in 4th grade, halfway through. During an IEP, said his last day of school was yesterday. I just felt that he was just failing miserably academically and socially and just didn't have the support and the training there that he really needed to be successful, even at his age. So homeschooled him for about 2.5 years, and while I grouped together with wonderful teachers and professionals in the area and formed the Achievement Academy. We are a private nonprofit school for children with high-functioning autism, Asperger's syndrome, related disorders, those social skills deficits and challenges, learning differences. We have social skills and life skills built right into the curriculum. And that's sometimes social skills is in the moment. How can our children learn something that they did appropriately or inappropriately if they aren't told right then and we don't talk about it right then? So we seize every teachable moment socially here at the Achievement Academy, and I've seen children, including my son, make great strides socially. We're part of a typical peer environment in the school. We're in a typical private school that we're located within, and so during those unstructured social times of the day, Lunch and recesses, especially, our children are playing with typically developing children and talking with them, and really practicing, generalizing what we teach at our school. So we teach by ability level. We set the children up to be successful from the moment they walk in our door. We start at their ability levels, and we tweak it constantly as we see them maybe growing quicker academically. They're boosted up. You know, that's not a great word, but they're kept up at the level academically where they are successful but are still challenged. So we don't want them to be bored.
At the highest level that individual can achieve.
Absolutely. And like I said,
So it's all individualized.
it's individualized. Absolutely. So we have
And
individualized.
what curriculum are you using?
We use a lot of, some of it is used in the school district. It's all research-based for different levels, which is really great. We just teach it differently. We use Saxon Math for our core mathematics program here, but we supplement it with Math Advantage, with other math programs too. We use different methods of teaching. We use, of course, books and paper, pencils. We use computer. We use manipulatives.
What does manipulatives mean?
Manipulatives is that they're able to touch what they're learning.
So like a typical thing that comes to my mind is the box with 6 holes in it and different shapes and a block that fits through those
That's
shapes.
a manipulative if that's the level where they're at. A lot of our children, for instance, learning to count money, we use real money. So they're able to touch it.
Not
they're
the
able,
plastic
right.
paper
We do
stuff.
have that as part of it, but we use money, absolutely. So they're just not pen and paper, where we actually use real items as we have a...
I remember when I was learning how to, in school, I think I already knew, but
Right.
when they were teaching us how to count money,
Right.
I remember they had drawings of it on the page, but it was just a worksheet like anything
Right.
else.
We use, I guess, 3-dimensional here, 4-dimensional, you know. We actually, in our Life Skills Center, we have the Red Brick Cafe. We practice restaurant skills from them being patrons.
How to order.
Pardon?
How to order.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have menus. We have plastic foods behind the counter. We have, what they do is everybody has a role. The patrons, the kids that sit at the table, learn how to manage money. We give them school money, so they have to look at the prices on the menus. All the menu items are matched by the foods behind the counter. There's someone that is the waiter that waits on the children. There's also the cook that has to prepare the food, so they all have different roles that they play. So they just get to practice actually the employment part of it too, which is learning a job, staying on task, conversing with other people. So at their ability levels, at their grade levels, they're actually learning employment skills too. And then
How impaired are most of the children that you're
they're high
working with?
functioning. They're verbal.
So it's mostly Asperger's.
A lot of Asperger's, but high functioning autism. Asperger's really what I believe it to be. Everybody, there's probably a lot of
You know more than I am, sure.
is that they are Asperger's is really that they have also their IQ's higher. Their IQ's in the normal to higher range, where we have a lot of children with autism that have the learning disabilities part of it too. So that's
So
what
their
they call
IQ might be
high
90.
functioning autism, absolutely. So or even a little bit lower. But they're able to work in groups. Our admissions criteria is basically they have to be verbal. They have to be able to communicate verbally effectively. So they have to be able to have that back and forth conversation skills. We're able to develop it from if it's a little bit lower than that, but they need to be able to verbalize